I mean, that's his job. That's what he's there to do. And, it was sad. It was just at that moment in time because it sucked all the momentum out, and it was a difference maker. I mean, that lack of attention to the detail of what was going on the field, I think, cost the Saints the Super Bowl berth.
You as well as anybody in your sport, because
Sure.
it's so subjective. No.
That's subjective. Everybody says, gymnastics is so subjective. It's no more subjective than what we saw on the football field, or what we see when there's inconsistencies in calling balls and strikes, or there's whether the tennis ball hit the line or not hit the line. It's a call. That's everything. It's subjective. I think the only thing's not subjective is the stopwatch on a sprinter.
Mm-hmm. How do you, as a competitor, a coach, and you can put yourself in their shoes.
Well, sure.
You've tried so hard and prepared for months, and you get to this point, and
well,
subjective call
Friday
affects you.
night.
How do you overcome
Friday
that?
night, you go back and look, and some line out of bounds deductions weren't taken, and perhaps. And I can look at it and say, that's on me because I didn't have line judges. I don't like clutter on the floor. And the judges usually call that themselves. And, then the same thing happened to the Saints the next day, but in much greater magnitude. Because it was 2 penalties. I mean, that guy should have been kicked out of the game, in my opinion.
I hate to throw the word out, slump. That's such a baseball term. But, the last 2 weeks, they're obviously growing pains, learning experiences. How do you kind of sum up what
we knew going into the season that it was going to be a different pace, a different tempo, because our preparation has had to be so different. And we find ourselves in a much better place by the time that we do our inner squads the day before the meet. This week was certainly better than our first home opener. This meet was certainly better than what we saw when we were at Auburn, and I think that's maturity. That's getting a lot of new people in the lineup and letting them begin to settle down. And we're also beginning to have much more consistency in our training cycle as well as in our inner squads, which have been fabulous. So, I don't like the term slump. I think our preparation has been different this year, and so the outcome has been different, and the term greater later, I think, is where we're pushing to be. And each week, the difference in losing, and we saw it, is this much, and we just have to be patient and know that this team's given it everything they've got. That was obvious on Friday. The fans were amazing. The crowd stayed in the meet until the alma mater, and you just can't ask a team and a crowd to do any more than that.
What's been different about the preparation? You said it's been a little different.
Well, we've had to go slow. We've had to not do the numbers that we've been able to do in the past because of kids like McKenna coming back from Achilles tendon. Olivia Gunner, freshman last year, sophomore this year, same thing, coming back from Achilles tendon. We've had elbow surgeries, knee scopes, and just a variety of things that had to be taken care of in our off season. And consequently, when we started our preseason, we were still in the recovery stage with 4 or 5 kids. So, that's beginning to iron itself out, and we're beginning to see a whole lot of Juliana Canamella in practice, and I think that's gonna push us and make us a better team as we move forward.
There's a silver lining. Having McKenna, you didn't know how she was going to be after Auburn.
Right.
She competed in 2 events. Are you hoping she can maybe do 3
well,
very soon? And then you had Lexi do 3. Is she going to?
Yeah, that was Lexi was totally on me. She proved in practice that she could do it, but she had not been on a hard surface. And I just feel like the more opportunities we can give her in a home environment where she's comfortable with the crowd and comfortable with the apparatus. I know what our floor is. I know how good our floor is. But you go someplace else, and like at Auburn, the floor was extremely hard. I would never have put her out there to compete in that venue. But at the same time, I think we can let her go at home 3 or 4 times before we get to the regional championships, SECs, then regionals, and we're going to have a much better performance.
So this week, you think maybe McKenna can do 3 and she does 2?
McKenna could definitely, we're definitely looking at doing 3. Right now she's the alternate on beam, and that's going to depend on, we had great beam performances this week, and I wouldn't anticipate taking someone out, but if McKenna has a stellar performance and someone doesn't, then, because we kind of like to protect the top 3 spots, and if somebody comes in and challenges one of the other 3 spots, then there's a good chance that she would have the opportunity to compete in 3 events.
She doesn't do his bars, right?
She doesn't do bars.
So you talk about, you know, how it was a monster effort on Friday. Are you guys gonna just keep that vibe kind of going
Yeah.
into Alabama?
Yeah, we're going to try to keep the same preparation. You can pretty much, know that we practiced on Sunday. We're going to practice today, and we'll be off tomorrow. The kids will do yoga and get massages and have a really relaxed day, and then gear it back up with an inner squad, and we travel on Thursday. So, I mean, we try to keep everything the same and everything consistent, and the level of intensity in practice has really been good, and the enthusiasm in practice has been good, and we need to keep that up.
You've had obviously some really good scores. Sarah's been tremendous. It seems like you look at a lot of your meets and you've got the last place score in a rotation or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to do to elevate the bottom?
See, we kind of got,
the lineup?
and that's something that we're working on, because we got spoiled, because we had Maya Hambrick, who went at the top of the lineup, and anchored. I think she maybe only anchored. Yeah, I mean, she never did, but she was winning the all around. But we had so many other kids that were at the end of the lineup, and we had her early in the lineup, and now we're developing sophomores that had no experience. But look at Reagan Campbell, what she's done over the last 2 weeks. I mean, has done a great job for us, so we're really excited about that. And Sammy Durrani on 2 events, and every time she goes out there, she gets a little bit more confident. Now, Ruby Harrell did the same thing we saw her do in our inter squad. She gave us in the PMAC on Friday night. Those performances are critical.
Obviously, every year's adjustments. Does it feel like maybe this year's, with the younger group, though, it takes a little bit longer to build the trust with everybody?
It's taking a little bit longer to be able for them to know what it feels like to have momentum, and how important one performance is, because it builds the next one. And I think this team is beginning to feel that. They felt the momentum. When we were at Auburn, they saw momentum. They didn't experience it, they saw it. And the kids that have been on this team the last 3, and some of them now 4 years, they know what that momentum is. They know when they get it, it's a powerful thing, and you got to hang on to it and just plow through it till the end of the meet. So I think we're growing in that regard, and it's been a process, and we've just got to stay in the process, remove the clutter, and plow forward.
You talk about, losing Maya and also losing Erin at the beginning of that beam lineup.
Yeah.
What are you seeing from Christina and I think
Well,
Bridget's number 2?
Friday night, I saw Christina Desiderio, that's the kind of performance we need to lead off the lineup. And then Bridget going number 2, that's lack of experience, and she gets in there and we get little bitty kinks in her air. She stops breathing, and you can see her catch herself. But as she has the opportunity to compete more, she's going to get better.
She didn't compete except for like an exhibition or something
Yeah,
last year.
that's it. That's all she did last year. And I think she's proving herself to be a good performer. She competed at the elite level. She was out for a while and had some injuries, had some things that we had to pay attention to before we could put her out there and let her really feel independent in her performance.